Welcome to Star Wars Celebration in Orlando. Yes. This is the center of the Star Wars galaxy for the next 4 days. Oh yeah. Now, in case you hadn't realized, this year marks the 40th anniversary of Star Wars. Can you believe it? It's been 40 years, and I still look so young. Yeah. And now it's my pleasure to bring to the stage the president of Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy.
I'm sure, like me, you can't quite believe that it's been 40 years. I know some of you, not quite that long, but for those of you that were around in 1977, it is truly going to be an awesome celebration. Your passion, your dedication, and your love of Star Wars, you guys have no idea how that inspires us every single day. The greatest honor for me is to acknowledge the man whose collective genius has brought us all together today. Please welcome none other, my Yoda, George Lucas.
I mean, it's absolutely incredible. We're celebrating 40 years of Star Wars. How do you feel? How does that make you feel? Apart from old.
Well, the shock was, I hired you when you were 11 years old.
Yeah.
And now you have gray hair. Let me know what 40 years is.
Cast your mind back, all the way back to the early 70s. I want to know about that moment you first came up with Star Wars. Where were you? What was going on? See,
and the idea was more, I would like to make an action movie, which is more like a Saturday matinee serial that I enjoyed as a kid, but imbue it with mythological, psychological motifs, because we don't have any of those today. So I said, well, I'm going to take these two things and put them together. The idea was simply to do a high-adventure film that I loved when I was a kid, with meaningful psychological themes.
And now it's my pleasure to introduce Star Wars Rebels executive producer and supervising director, Dave Filoni.
Well, I am a fan, so I mean, it's easy for me to answer. I mean, you look out here, and the TV series let us do something kind of unique, which was we were on all the time, week to week. So we were able to give fans a Star Wars storytelling experience every week. And in today's media world, you know, people want to connect with us more and more and more. And the actors on Clone Wars were really good about being out there, being open with people, connecting with the fans. It's a way of, you know, making this the community that you see. And it's something that we respect at Lucasfilm. We know how much people love this, how important it is to them. So it's important to reach out to them and make you guys feel as much a part of it as we can. I gotta say, it's been a real privilege for me to be a part of this in any small way that I have been, to be up here with you guys, you know, because I grew up watching your films.
Please welcome Ian McDiarmid and Hayden Christensen. Tell us what it was like working with Ian, a hugely experienced actor. Were you intimidated at all?
Oh, Working with Ian was just a real treat and a privilege. I mean, everyone knows that he's such an amazing actor, but he's also an incredibly generous actor, and really kind of took me under his wing and was just very caring and giving, and I owe a lot of what I was able to accomplish in episode 3 to being able to work with Ian.
We met very briefly over lunchtime with Richard Marquand. This is, of course, Return of the Jedi. And I was very pleased to meet them both, thrilled, of course. And then we said our polite goodbyes, and I went back home, and the phone was ringing. My agent said, "You've got the part." I said, "Oh, well, that's great. What's the part?" And he went, agents do, leafing through piles of, papers, and he said, "Oh, apparently he's called the Emperor of the Universe." Ooh. So I said, "Oh, well, I guess we're doing it then."
So now I'm going to invite a few more friends to join us here on stage. Please, and I'm sure you will, help me welcome a protocol droid, a Wookiee, and the Baron of Cloud City, Anthony Daniels, Peter Mayhew, and Billy D. Williams. Wow, welcome, gentlemen. The last time I saw you three together, you were dancing up a storm in the Ewok village. And here you are.
Yeah. And I'm still embarrassed about that moment. And there we were, flying out to Death Valley to go on the road to Jabba's palace. Do you remember?
Right.
Little airplane. And they were setting up this box with a mirror, a window in it to make the matte painting of Jabba's palace. And whilst they were doing that, I kind of, walked along, sort of going, Lando Calrissian never returned from this awful place. And suddenly behind me was beep, 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 beep. And there was you going, beep, 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 beep. It was the cutest moment ever. I just loved it.
Tell me, Peter, how are you and Chewie similar?
Well, with the same height, for starters.
Good answer.
And I have blue eyes, which was specific on a certain gentleman's drawings.
Right.
So,
but what I mean is, do you share any of Chewie's characteristics? Anything that any of his skills, perhaps?
Yeah, I can maintain the Falcon.
Can you?
Yeah, oh yeah. You take 3 plugs out and drain the oil. So, yeah.
George, what was your inspiration for Chewbacca?
Well, the stories are all true, which is, I had a large dog named Indiana. It was a Malamute, Alaskan Malamute, and he would ride around in the car in the front seat.
Not driving?
Not driving.
No.
And, I loved that image of driving with his large, because when he sat in the car, he was bigger than I was. And so that was where I said, that would be a fun character for Star Wars.
For me, I was pretty established as more so than most of the actors that were in the film. And I was doing some interesting things with my life and my career. And so when I had the opportunity to work with George Lucas, I mean, I thought that was like going straight to heaven.
That's fabulous. That's
no,
fabulous.
seriously, it was a wonderful, extraordinary experience that I'm very happy to have had.
It must feel pretty rewarding to be surrounded by 1, 2, 3, dare I say 4 of your greatest character creations. Why don't we go crazy and make it 5? Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Hamill.
Well, I can never get over the fans. They are supportive. They're with you in good times, bad times. They're more supportive than my actual family. Because they criticize me all the time. But listen, to be honest with you, meeting you and hearing your stories and how the movies affected your lives or inspired you, or you met your future wife or husband, the way it's being passed down to the next generation, it's really moving. And certainly nothing I've ever taken for granted. I'm always just stunned at the passion that has lasted all these years. Yeah.
I'm sitting here as Warwick Davis, but also a fan. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when we've got George Lucas here, we've got C-3PO, we've got Lando Calrissian, we've got Chewbacca, and Luke Skywalker. I mean, it doesn't get much more epic than this, does it? Or actually, maybe it does. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Harrison Ford.
Take a few minutes to calculate the coordinates. No.
You left out the Navicomputer.
Take a few minutes for the Navicomputer to calculate the coordinates.
Wow.
I said to George, you can type this stuff, but you can't say it. Move your mouth while you're talking, while you're typing it, and I couldn't say it. It took me like 15 takes.
How did Star Wars impact you 40 years ago? What does it mean to you today?
Oh, it's made no difference in my life whatsoever. It was the beginning of an incredible ride. Actually, it wasn't the very beginning. The very beginning was also with George, and it was a part in American Graffiti. And then I went back to doing carpentry work. and then along came George once again, pulled me up by my bootstraps and put me to work in an extraordinary event that we all celebrate. And it's been a good ride.
Absolutely.
He got the part because in the end, I asked him, I said, you know, this is about spaceships and flying and stuff like that. And I said, do you know how to fly?
I said, fly, yeah. Land, no.
George, when did it click for you that this cast was something extra special?
Take it.
You know,
you don't notice it until you're shooting.
Right. You know, you can have the most brilliant cast in the world, but they have a story to tell. And the story that we had to tell was more than sufficient. It was full of humor and emotion and conflict, and it was a brilliant invention of a mythology that has sustained interest for over 40 years, and that's made up of whole cloth, out of whole cloth by George. And an actor without a story to tell is, you know, might as well go home. So it was a brilliant opportunity for all of us.
Certainly from me, and on behalf of all the fans here in the room and throughout the world watching via live stream, thank you, each and every one of you, for your contribution to Star Wars. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Mayhew, Billy D. Williams, Anthony Daniels, Mark Hamill, and Harrison Ford. Thank you.
That tall guy's going to be a movie star. You know the Harrison guy?
Now,
I think so.
When I cast it, I said I really want somebody young to play the part. I want somebody very young. And when Carrie came in, she was that character. She was very strong, very smart, very funny, very bold, very tough. you know, there really wasn't much of a question. There are not very many people like her. You know, they're 1 in a billion.
I'm going to mirror a little bit of that. I think that there was no greater honor than that of working with the late and truly great Carrie Fisher. She was unlike anyone you've known, unlike anyone in this room. Her humor, her insight, her brilliance. When you associate Princess Leia, you realize that was Carrie. She was not only be remembered forever by those who were lucky enough to know her, but she will be remembered forever, even by those who are not old enough yet to say the words, "May the Force be with you." Someone who has known Carrie her entire life, whose world has revolved around Star Wars and is uniquely suited to give us wonderful insight on this remarkable woman, is her daughter, Billy. Please welcome Billy Lord.
My mom used to say she never knew where Princess Leia ended and Carrie Fisher began. She went from being an unknown actress, the daughter of Debbie Reynolds and Eddie Fisher, to Princess Leia, a character synonymous with the idea of the ultimate strong woman, a soldier, a fighter, a beyond capable, independent, sensible woman in control of her own destiny, a rebel who resisted the norm. She was imperfect in many ways, but her imperfections and willingness to speak about them are what made her more than perfect. My mom, like Leia, wasn't ever afraid to speak her mind and say things that might have made most people uncomfortable, but not me and not you. That was why she loved you, because you accepted and embraced all of her. The strong soldier of a woman she was, and also the vulnerable side of her, who often openly fought her own dark side, knowing early on that we all have a dark side of our own, whatever it may be. But she knew that it wasn't about the fight that you were fighting, but how you fought it, the way you resisted. No one could have known what this once little dream of a movie would eventually become, and what it would mean to millions worldwide. Mostly not her, but in our world, Star Wars ultimately became our religion, our family, and our way of life. And I wanted to be here with all of you because I know that many of you feel the same way. When she surrounded herself with fans at celebrations like this, she never felt more at home. She could spend hours talking to people and learning about their lives and how Star Wars and Leia touched them the same way it touched us. If left to her own devices, she would have always been the last person to leave the convention center, having met and had a shared Carrie moment with every single person there. Nothing about her was a performance. She loved you. She loved these movies. She loved the people she got to make them with, and she loved this incredible character she got to create, this force called Leia. She taught me 3 important things. One thing all mothers should teach their daughters. General Kenobi, years ago you served my father in the Clone Wars. Now he begs you to help him in his struggle against the Empire. I regret that I am unable to present my father's request to you in person, but my ship has fallen under attack, and I'm afraid my mission to bring you to Alderaan has failed. I have placed information vital to the survival of the rebellion into the memory systems of this R2 unit. My father will know how to retrieve it. You must see this droid safely delivered to him on Alderaan. This is our most desperate hour. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. Secondly, she taught me that if life isn't funny, then it's just true, and that is unacceptable. And finally, I learned by knowing her that the most evolved person is seemingly a contradiction. They are both the strongest and the most vulnerable person in the room, and that was her. That is Leia. Thank you for loving her and carrying on what she stands for. I'm beyond grateful.
extra.
And the secret sauce of Star Wars, the greatest composer, conductor in the universe, John Williams.